Well, I almost always forget to do it, but should get the chain off first before taking the wheel, because we're gonna have to take this whole swing arm and all of the linkage off. So the chain has to come off. But anyways, one thing is I won't be reusing this chain, and now I know why I hate it, is because it's an O-ring chain. No. We don't play that here. So we're gonna be putting this DID gold chain. It's gonna look even better, and it's gonna work way better. Now I know if you get one of these Hondas, they are probably gonna come with an O-ring chain, and you'll have to break the chain. You'll have to split the chain to get it off. So that's what we did. Alright, that is going to conclude the disassembly for me. This is as far as I like to go. Just get the swing arm out. It's nice to put a little bit of grease in the upper shock joint, but really you don't need to do that. You don't need to worry about it. All these parts that are on the lowest part of the motorcycle, these are the ones that get abused and full of water and real nasty. So look at all that gunk. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to clean that up. So I do not like that at all on my baby, but we'll get this all 100% cleaned up, and I will show you that it's a miracle we're doing this service, even with this bike that has 15 hours of use. Basically brand new, but I'll show you these parts. Okay, it's starting to rain, so don't have much time here, but this is how the parts came off of the bike, and as you can see, this stuff did not have much grease on it. I mean, I'm gonna put a ton of grease on all of these parts. So right now we're gonna clean all of the linkage, all of these parts up by hand, degrease them. Look at this. The bearings are good still, but it's time to get them greased. Gonna clean everything up first, and then we will grease everything, put it back on the bike. And I'm gonna be doing one more special thing with my linkage, just to be different and give this bike a little more sauce. What's up, Snowflake? How you living, player? Peace out. All right, so check this out. After many hours, I have finished with these linkage parts. So this is how they look after removing those lines. They're not perfect. There's some details you can see where I grinded a little bit and they could be better, but first time doing this, really, I'm very happy. They look pretty darn factory. So everything else is ready as well. I have cleaned the swing arm up the best as possible. And I've cleaned every single axle as well using a little bit of Scotch-Brite, red and gray Scotch-Brite to get them like this. So all I literally need to do now is grease up these bearings inside of here and the swing arm, get these packed up with grease. I'm gonna be using 2 different greases to do this, and I'll explain that in a second, but I gotta do one more thing. I just cannot help myself. So we're gonna do one more thing with this axle specifically here, the swing arm axle. I'm gonna plug these ends up with a little bit of silicone. So let's go do that. Regular old silicone gray, and I just pack it in there, make it look somewhat pretty, both sides. But now we have this thing sealed up so we don't have to worry about water getting inside and rusting it from the inside out. Doesn't look perfect, but doesn't look bad either. So now I have these pieces cleaned. All I use is just a rag to clean them out like this. If they're off of a used bike, not a new bike like this, you're probably gonna need to clean each bearing with a little bit of gasoline and a brush. But since these were basically brand new, all we do is wipe them out. And I try not to take these needle bearings out, these parts inside, when I don't have to. So we're keeping them in right now, and now we're just gonna grease them up. I have 2 different greases here. I have one regular, waterproof grease, like Maxima. And here I have a mix of that waterproof grease with an anti-seize lubricant. So this I'm only gonna put on the lower shock bearing. This is the bearing that always sees the most abuse and most water and has the most problems. I'm only gonna grease that bearing up with this, which is the mix. All the rest will just get regular grease packed in there, basically as much as we can. So I'll fill these up and show you what they should look like when they're greased. Okay, we've got these bearings packed up. Basically put about as much grease as I possibly can in there. Just push the excess out, and when we put the caps in, that's how it looks after. So, but this thing is fully packed with grease up in there. This lower bearing, like I mentioned, with the anti-seize mix, that's gonna be good to go. Just gotta grease up these other bearings here. There's 2 of them in each part, and then we'll be done with the linkage. I'm not gonna bother showing this too much because I've made other videos on this and there's a bunch out there. So this whole video is about recommendations of what you should do for your new motorcycle. As far as the bike, there's a little bit of cleaning I want to do. Obviously we're gonna clean all that up like I mentioned, but we're gonna go ahead and take this cover off, that front sprocket cover. We're gonna take that off, and we'll be able to wash up in here with some gasoline and a brush and just make sure everything looks really, really good before we put it all back on. Look at this stuff, y'all. Damn. So one more look at those swing arm bearings. They are packed up. That's what I'm talking about right there. So those are good to go. Everything is ready to go. The linkage is all greased up, looking incredible, looking factory. We got all these bolts greased up as well, and this center one for the swing arm, we put that special grease mix on there. Let's see how the silicone's drying up. All right. So we just gotta clean up that bike, and we'll be putting all this back on, finally. Also, I need to wash the rim. Okay, we got the rim looking nice, and we got this bike looking even nicer. Look at this. Now she looking clean. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and put this thing back together. I'm not gonna show every little detail. We're just gonna do everything we did in the reverse order. These 2 links that go right here, we'll put those on first, and then we'll put the swing arm in, I'm thinking. Okay, we've got both of the link arms installed and torqued. I just torque them up with a wrench and get them about as tight as I can. Swing arm is on, buttery smooth, and I torqued it down to 60 pounds. That's what I usually run for the swing arm. Now we got that new custom knuckle in there, looking fresh. I got these two torqued down, put this one at about 37. This one we put about 31, and here we're gonna be doing this one to 37 as well. So it's the last thing, we just gotta connect those rods and the linkage will be 100% complete again. There it is, this is our final result for the linkage. Looks pretty darn sick. So we got everything torqued up, we just gotta get the brake back on, put the little brake line guides on, get the foot peg on, get the rim on. Now we have the brake connected, we have the brake line secured, we've got the foot peg mount back on and the foot peg on with a little bit of anti-seize lube in there as well. We're ready to get the rear wheel on and finish, except there's one more thing. You guys know I can't just finish anything. The last thing I want to do is take out these bolts. It's always good to take these out if you've washed the swing arm or potentially gotten water inside of there, it'll drain out. And also we're gonna put a little bit of anti-seize lube on these bolts so that in the future they never get locked up, because that is something that definitely happens a lot. So I take these screws out, put that anti-seize lube on, and then just send them in there. All the excess will just push its way out. Finally, the wheel is back on, and the last thing we have to do is put on this chain. It should be ready to rip, finally. Oh yeah. Okay, officially, the 450X is ready to go. 100% set up. Only one thing left to do. As they say here, hay que calarla. So we're about to take it out to the street. So we did actually end up adjusting the rear sag on this bike at the end because it changed drastically with the greasing of all of the chassis. The rear end was squatting down much more than before, now that it was all moving freely as it should be, and I actually had to adjust the preload a little bit and stiffen it up. So that all is taken care of, and the bike looks incredible as you have seen. There's just one more thing. Let's go get it on the GoPro so you can see what it's like riding this beauty. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Much love, everybody. Peace.